What is up, Whale family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hang Time, where we talk NBA Top Shot, the market, fantasy basketball, and all things hoops and hype. I am back after a week off, little vacation with the family in Cape Cod, where I was put to work by a little dude in the ocean and probably did more physical activity than I had in the months prior. So a vacation from the grind of every day, so to speak, but definitely not relaxing in that sense. I think I actually lost weight on vacation, which is a first for me. But that being said, was a little bit disconnected from the market in general, as well as NBA Top Shot. While I was out there, I did catch a couple of games and, did keep up with some headlines. But as far as the market goes, in retrospect, a little bit of a quiet time period as far as NBA Top Shot goes. Granted, there were some challenges and some little upheavals with regards to things going on with the platform itself, but relative to big new initiatives or awesome drops, really wasn't a lot going on. So a bit of a lull, which is interesting because that coincides with what should be the most exciting time period, right? We're in the playoffs, we're at the NBA Finals now, finally, and so excitement should be picking up. So interesting juxtaposition, and I just wanted to call that out because certainly it plays a role in what we're about to see when we look at the numbers. So as we talked about, the NBA Finals are finally here. They start tonight. Giannis is doubtful after tweaking that knee, which sucks, especially after what happened to him, previously when he was on a playoff run. But that being said, it's cool to see role players step up and really, deliver for their team. And certainly we saw that with the Bucks after Giannis went down. Now, that being said, I personally had said leading into the playoffs that I was a fan of seeing some of this homegrown talent make it to the finals and see that story, see new stars evolve, as opposed to just seeing these super teams that are kind of batched together and what they can do. To me, that's less exciting. That's more of a store-bought product. But there's a lot of clamoring within the NBA community as well as Top Shot itself, saying that because we don't have those marquee stars, that's driving down what the interest level is in the NBA as a whole, and with that, what's going on in Top Shot. And I'm not 100% sure I'm on board with that thesis, but it could be playing a role here for sure. So tonight we have the Bucks and the Suns going at it. Like I said, a cool storyline for me. Hooper Dude's already jumped in, made his bold prediction. He's saying the Suns in 7. I think we had some other people that were rooting for the underdogs, saying that they want to see the Bucks. So we will see. Maybe we'll try to gamify that a little bit in the chat. Keep an eye out. Maybe I'll throw some whale up for whoever can get the closest prediction to how this ends up playing out. But the sizzle as far as what we're having from marquee stars, it may not be there, but that being said, this is when new stars make their mark. And certainly Devin Booker is an amazing scorer. He's a machine, and this might be the stage to really catapult him to the next level. And with that, maybe the value of his moments that people hold. And obviously there's a great story on Chris Paul. Chris Paul has been in the league for a long time, finally, getting his due, being in the finals. I thought this was cool. People calling out that he played JV basketball, as if that some way highlights that he wasn't that great of a player and has evolved. Hey guys, a lot of us great players have played JV, myself included. So I like to think that, me and Chris Paul are around the same height, right around 6 feet. I think Chris Paul may come in at like 5'11". So there was hope for me. My mother was wrong when she told me I should give up and realize that I wasn't the right height for it, right? But that being said, let's go on to the market itself. When we look at NBA Top Shot, the total market cap has significantly dropped. When we look at this total dollar volume and also transactional volume, we're at the lows here of almost $500,000. We haven't seen that for a long time. You have to go back to that big drop we had, I think, in the early June time period, maybe even all the way back to January, to see something that was at this low of a level. So what does that say? I mean, certainly we have a lot more opportunity for new people to come into the market. It's just not translating into dollar volume. Is the dollar volume that we're trying to, earmark it against a good metric? Because certainly we were in price discovery. It was a new platform. A lot of people were coming in just to flip because they saw it as an opportunistic thing. And now we're seeing it level off a bit with collectors and people that have interest, and to that, you can see here on this Bookshop market analysis that though, the dollar volume is down like that, our number of users with at least one moment in their holdings is at its peak, right? It's at its highest level. So, that juxtaposition is something they're trying to balance. I think that one of the metrics, one of the goals that's really at the forefront for NBA Top Shot right now is to onboard people and get as many people they can onto the platform, and then try to flesh out exactly how they're going to reward collectors and try to manage the economy. So a tough act. Certainly, it's not an easy task for them, but it's something that needs to happen if we're going to have some longevity in it. We only have a fraction of the fan base of the NBA using the platform right now. So we want to onboard these new people. That's where opportunistically we get more exposure, more whales come in, and hopefully they could find an equilibrium into balancing supply and also value that they bring to the market with what they put out there. One other thing of note on this particular chart, you can see the base series 1 is actually continuing to depreciate while series 2 is kind of holding steady. What does that mean? We can only speculate here, but I would think that a lot of the speculators that came into the market thinking having something early, a player's first moment, or in the base set, the first set would be of value. And there's a lot of discussion about the dilution of supply. You have players out there with 30-something moments, right? So it certainly takes away some of the shine on some of those early moments, thinking that you'd have something that has a bit more scarcity, and that may be playing a role here. But also, there were some inflated values for that base set, I think, especially when the speculators were involved in really driving the market. So we'll see what's going to happen with regards to that. But, some interesting developments on the forefront here that they're about to embark on that may impact this and kind of change the paradigm a little bit. But I think one of our community users, I think Feria, was mentioning the relative impact that some of this stuff had on the value of the moments themselves. And before we get into that, let's just take a quick look at the Whale Vault. The Whale Vault is holding steady at about $27 million. That's down from the $32 million. I think at the last time we had a discussion, this is divergent a little bit from what you would get on Evaluate Market, which shows about $21 million. And we had discussed this, this platform over here on Moment Ranks actually takes into account more of the rare serials and the jersey numbers. So whether you have a number 1, whether you have a player jersey, it has more variables that are accounted for that. So that's why this value kind of holds better on this platform for us and is probably a better reflection of the market. That being said, some of those moments are very scarce, so it doesn't have a lot of liquidity. And when one moment goes for a bargain, it can cause a cascading effect that impacts that value significantly. I think we looked at, was it a Steph Curry last time? One sale of that Steph Curry had a trickle down effect where I think we had like 7 or 8 other moments, and each of them had been halved, right? And accounted for nearly $1 million. So remember, that comes into play every time we look at this, but this site should be a better reflection of the market itself. And then, like I had mentioned, Feria had called out in our Top Shot community room. If you're not in there, pays to hang out with us. I definitely dropped some whale while I was on vacation. I was proud of the work that everyone had done with regards to the DAO proposal and talking that up during office hours. So props to the people that had put that forward. We'll talk about that more in a little bit, but come hang in the room. We have some great insight, great community members, and some great stuff going on. But, relative to playoff performances, look at Book. I just talked about Book. This is going to be his showcase. I expect Booker to absolutely go off in this playoff, in this final, and put on a show. And hopefully, his moments, for anyone that's holding, you'd see relative scale on that. But it looks like it's already gone. Similar to crypto markets, maybe you buy the rumor and sell the news. I think that Booker still has room to grow here and to the top echelon of superstar that he is as far as marketability, because he's kind of a quiet dude, right? Lights it up, huge numbers, but as far as personality wise, this may be his showcase that gets him to where he wants to be. So keep an eye on that. And of course, Chris Paul, this could be an iconic moment if he wins if he wins a title here, right? That's been a long journey for him. So a lot of opportunity here. And certainly, with some role players that could step up, especially with Giannis being injured. You never know what's going to happen on the Suns as well. A role player could come out of nowhere, emerge, and make a significant splash. And so, I do know some people that opportunistically try to scoop up cheap players that are on some of the playoff teams and hope that they have a breakout moment and then they can try to flip that. I'm not suggesting you should do that, but I do know some people that try to work the market like that. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens as these playoffs progress. And one cool thing I noticed this, Cole Anthony stepped up and actually snagged his own moment. I love it when anytime the NBA players themselves are interacting with Top Shot and kind of calling it out. This was made very public on social media. You can see here he scooped his metallic gold LE at the highest price, actually in recent listing and sales. So it's just cool to see the players want to invest it because they believe in it. Also, they're actually building the market for themselves. So having that kind of confidence in what you're participating in, knowing that the actual league itself does as well, is always a good thing. And then this was pretty cool. We actually got our second ever NBA Top Shot moment with a voiceover, this Torrey Craig dunk, and I'll let it play here. You can hear a little bit of it. Evidently, the audio may have been off, so that was not the greatest demonstration of the new voiceover moment, but it is cool to see that they've actually incorporated that again. Hopefully that continues to expand and they have other things that they will add as well. That would be pretty cool. I think I did see actually a proof of concept someone had presented to Roham, and he actually said he loved it, where it actually showed a digital signature signing across a moment, so that there may be an opportunity to take a moment regardless of what the scarcity is, and after the fact have it signed. And I think some of the comments, they were talking to the logistics of it, and actually had mentioned, hey, maybe there would be a way with a QR code, right? Like if you were at a game or at an event, or maybe something digitally even, right? Like something that's just virtual, and you have the opportunity for whatever reason, you're in a meet and greet, a virtual, or you get into a specific room with some of these players. A lot of them are on the Top Shot streams. They can actually, via their activation, choose to sign it. And this, I think, is a key differentiator that would add value besides just getting a signed card, right? Or getting a signed moment that's already pre-done. If you could augment that and change it, that would be incredible. So, if that's something that they can implement, obviously there's other implications with the blockchain itself and how to do things iteratively. Maybe something would have to be pre-built and then they can add to it. I don't know. I'll let someone way smarter than me figure out the smart contract aspect and what they can do. They're on Flow, so I have high confidence with all the resources they have that they'll be able to pull that off. But I would love to see that. That would be certainly something very cool to be able to play with. And then I also just wanted to make mention, there was this cereals issue over the week while I was on vacation, where evidently a reward had gone out, and depending on the age of your Top Shot account, you got a lower cereal as opposed to randomization. I'm not really privy to all the details on it, but it did happen, and they addressed it in office hours and said they're going to work on the Q&A to try to resolve that as best as possible and make sure that it doesn't occur again in the future. So the playoff sets. All right, this is a bit confusing. I believe we have another conference finals set another playoff set that'll be dropping soon. It'll be a conference final set, but it'll be a base set, just like the ones that we've been picking up. 165,000 packs or 166,000 packs. These will be 11,000 and change limited editions. So that will be coming soon, probably Friday, sometime in the near future. Then on top of that, we will also get a rare conference final set to drop. Details are scarce on that as far as like the collector score and what you'll need, but we'll probably hear more about that in the coming days. And then also there's going to be a legendary final set that will drop. And what will be the qualifier for that? We're not sure. We just had the 7,500 collector store qualifier for the last legendary. And since then, they've talked about tiering, right? So there'd be different tiers so other people could still qualify and have a shot at it, even if it's a lower percentage. So hopefully, this allows, I'd love to see some home runs, some people with very low chances get in there and have their opportunity met with some success and they score it. So we'll be seeing that soon. And then just talking on the playoff packs, I just wanted to make mention, I thought this was kind of crazy. Before I had left, I believe this pack dropped on the 26th, right? And so you only needed 100 collector's score to qualify for this pack. And I believe they dropped 186,000 packs. So a significant number of packs, but not only 100 collector score, right at the time of the snapshot, 350,000 people. So it far exceeded, it doubled the amount of people, the number of people that qualified doubled the amount of packs that would be available. That being said, I did my typical thing. I jumped in the queue, something pulled me away. It was probably more takeout food because that seems to be the pattern with me. But I got pulled away, got dumped out, had to rejoin the queue. I was sure I was done, right? Like, this is a playoff pack. I'm not going to be able to scoop anything. Sure enough, it let me right back in. And I think I actually fell out of that one too. I forgot what I did, but a little absent-minded getting ready for vacation. It allowed me to get back in again and get in line and score my pack pretty quickly. And this wasn't at the end of the night. This was, in the evening sometime. So I'm not sure if that's a byproduct of, lack of demand or interest, or, when it talks about the qualified users, there's a lot of lapsed users in there, right? Could be that there's a lot of people that qualified and have a moment and just haven't touched the platform for some time because of the market, or because they didn't feel like it was worth their while to try to get out with what it would have taken with, with KYC or whatever. But I just found that very interesting because it was a different experience than I had with a lot of other pack drops, and I'm sure a lot of other people have been having. So that being said, we do have 2 challenges that have gone live today. We have round 2, challenges number 7, number 8 for Joel Embiid, John Collins. There's no playoff master challenge that's coming. So these playoff moments will be, by themselves. There's no cool cats-esque kind of thing that will be happening with them in the end. I did want to mention that they had a discussion in office hours about Run It Back. And you guys know from our discussions, I'm a big fan of the Run It Back series, and I'm really looking forward to the Run It Back sets when they drop, because I have a lot of affinity for some of our legacy players in the NBA and some of that old school basketball. But they made mention that they were exploring having various tiers for the Run It Back sets. And this had a lot of community concern. They're already concerned about the dilution of supply, and now you're going to do it, to the Run It Back, one of the most revered sets, right? And so there was actually a response from Jacob on Twitter. And he said, to clarify, Run It Back is going to be a rare set. It will not be a common. Nothing's confirmed. They're going to put some rules in place to protect the collectors, etc. Basically, they understand the concern, and they're going to try to put something in place to mitigate that. Hopefully they do. We have to have some confidence that they will, and they hear what we're saying. But it's just good to hear that at the least we have their ear and they're aware of what the concerns are. And speaking of Twitter, I found this interesting. Roham was doing some Twitter surveys, and this one in particular caught my attention. He's talking about what kind of features or enhancements we're most looking forward to, which almost sounds definitive, like they're going to happen, but I'm fairly certain that's not the case. But he talks about the trade in and burn. We're aware of that. The loans and leases for money. So essentially, staking some of these. But the thing that really jumped out to me is the crafting and merging button here. And, that's something that puts NBA Top Shot in a whole nother category for me, similar to stuff that's done on wax and whatnot. So personally, I'll have to see what their plan is or what they were thinking of. But on the surface, that's not something I would like to see executed or implemented here, unless there's some way to craft and combine for opportunities for pack drops and things of that nature versus upgrading existing cards, because then it just becomes a grind and something different than what it is now for me. So something to keep our eye on for sure. And I wanted to call your attention to this cool new tool I saw that Greg Murray dropped. It's Top Shot Reward Luck Challenge Luck Calculator. Basically, a lot of people talk about what they get for cereals on a lot of these rewards. But this website actually allows you to put in your Top Shot name here, and it'll calculate, what your luck percentage is. As many of you know, I have not been a big advocate of the challenges personally. It's just not my thing. But if you were to put in your name, it would calculate what you've received for cereals on all of these challenges. It has some additional inputs, and then tell you, what your percentage rate is, and relative to the top percentages, right? So people are getting 90% score or whatever, they're way down in the pack. Some people getting very high percentage scores because they're doing very well. Mine's not going to tell you much because I've only completed one challenge ever. So coincidentally, it was an absolutely horrible pull on that. That was obviously pre-Joe Boo. But you guys may have more utility for this. So again, if you don't follow Greg Murray already, go check Greg Murray _Greg Murray on Twitter. He has a link to this tool, and it's certainly very cool. Greg puts a lot of analytic stuff together and a lot of cool stuff. Also wanted to just, again, bring attention to the DAO proposal that you guys had put together. I wasn't able to listen in on office hours. I was literally on the beach, but was able to just peek in at the chat and saw the discussion going on. Love that you guys actually brought it to the forefront and advocated for it, not only for what it does for our Top Shot community, but as for community interaction with the DAO itself. You guys are kind of building a new model. We've just opened it up to things like purchases and things like that. So having that more proactive role and kind of fleshing out the process that you're doing and then advocating it is exactly what needs to be done. So super, super proud to see the community had pulled together to do that. And it looks like we have a sponsor. If I understand correctly, you guys are putting Justin on task of officially sponsoring it. So someone will catch me up, I'm sure, relative to what you're doing to tweak that and make it more turnkey and palatable. But awesome to hear that you guys have the support. And it looks like Whale Shark was saying he'd be willing to sit in queue or whatever is going on. But super stoked to see that happen. And again, I would do everything in my power to help execute and also be able to make sure we can leverage this and give it to the community, whether it's packs, whether it's opportunity to purchase packs, whether it's rewards. I literally have my little guy in the other room on some kind of crazy vocoder, like a demon spawn. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully you guys can't pick that up, or if you can, just enjoy it as part of the show. I have no idea what's going on out there. Also wanted to make mention, a couple of the community members had picked up some of the LaMelo NFTs. These are actually on OpenSea. I know some people had talked about whether or not it would have a market already or a marketplace. It looks like 15 ETH had been traded on the OpenSea marketplace. I'm not really too familiar with all of the minting costs or the initial cost on these. So, relative to how it's performing right now, granted, this is something that if you got involved with, you want to genuinely see some of the opportunities for merch, and also, how it evolves, right, with the stats and awards and things of that nature. So, good to see that there's some follow through and it's not just sitting in a black hole out there on the internet. There is a marketplace and there is some activity, although OpenSea does not want me to take part in that activity for whatever reason. Another thing that caught my attention was Beeple had partnered on a business venture for this We New platform, which is kind of the tokenization of moments, iconic moments, and some further interactivity that you're allowed because of it. 2 VIP tickets to a tour, autographed merch, trophy replica, etc. So obviously stuff that ties into, what we've been talking about as far as the sports experiences and how NFTs could try to leverage some different interactivities with the fan base. So just something I wanted to keep my eye on, and it looked like it was wildly successful. And that being said, obviously having people behind it and all of the attention and money and everything else that he brings to the NFT space plays a role here. But I believe it's sold out in every single tier. So, there was a high-end auction. They had affordable, entry-level mints scaling up, right? So $50, $100, $500, $5,000, and then obviously the auction, which did very well. So tokenizing a moment, a bit different when we're talking about tennis, right? We're not talking about a league and all the branding value that brings, but there's a lot of sports where this could be an opportunity, whether it's combat sports, whether it's, racing. There's a lot of stuff. So I'll be interested to see how they continue to progress. I'm sure they're going to go beyond sports and do some different things, whether it's historical moments or whether it's, stuff that's relative to the blockchain space itself, but certainly something to continue to watch. We want these sports collectibles and these fan experience to continue to evolve. And so in turn, that helps our Top Shot portfolios and the general interests of the Gen Pop itself. Not sure if any of you guys got in on this. I personally am not a big tennis guy, but one of our community members, Brent, tried to talk me into it, but I did not end up dipping my toes in the water. And with that being said, I did save my playoff pack that I scored right before going on vacation. So we will rip this together live. Evidently, I don't have sound, which sucks because that's half of the best part of this here. Let me see if I can change my sound settings. Let's see. Nope. Well, we're going to have to just roll with it. Hopefully the sound will be us jubilant and celebration from a sick pull. And I will take this opportunity to finally drop some Joe Boo, right? So we'll get some mojo going. I'd appreciate any Joe Boos that are joining me in the chat. And let's go with this poll. I'm going to go right with the middle first. Hey, there we go. You know what? I wasn't a big fan of Trey until these playoffs, and then I really became more of a fan. I like his killer instinct, and I like his fire. Nice. Yeah, Hooper, I liked him in the MSG also. I was tempted to do that reward for that hush moment, but I think I can get in on the market better than the reward, or better than the cost to complete the challenge. Last one. Nice. So I don't know, it wasn't the best cereal, but considering some of the people that I pulled in my previous packs, I'm going to say that was a successful use of Joe Boo, and Joe Boo made the difference. All right, now I'm just going to chat with you guys in the community. What do you guys got going on? What do you want to talk about? Is there anything that I really missed out on? Feria, thanks for the Joe Boo. It definitely came through. I need to get more of those going next time, guys. Then we can not only get the good player, but the good cereals. As an aside, I have yet to pull a great cereal. And by great, I don't mean number one. I mean like top 100. See if you guys can make that happen. So what did I miss? What do I need to be up on that happened over this past week that you guys can school me on? Finals MVP. I'm definitely going Booker. I think Booker comes out in a big way. I caught Booker live a few years ago. I went to the Waste Management Open in Phoenix. I happened to be out on a business trip, and a buddy of mine said he had tickets. And I've never been to a golf event in my life. I like playing golf, but the idea of just watching it wasn't really big for me. And he's like, "You have to come through. It's like a keg party at a golf. It's a different environment." And it was dope. But that being said, we actually caught a Suns game, and I saw Book early in his career. I was like, "This guy's incredible. This guy's a scoring machine." I had the usual first, he's not my team. So I'm like, well, does he play defense? But, after watching him for a few years, he's the real deal. Yes. Giannis coming back would make a big difference, but a hyperextended knee is not an easy thing to manage, especially when you're explosive like that. Especially when you're euro stepping, and that really torques the knee because you're kind of like going side to side when you're trying to make your move near the basket as opposed to just straight forward and up and down. So that puts a lot of torque on it. Easy said I missed a crap load of generative projects. Yeah, I actually, you know what? I'm not the biggest participant in those. But I did get roped into one that's called whales, just because I felt like, hey, if they're gonna drop one that's about whales and I'm part of the whale community and I don't grab one, then that's a bad look for me. So I'm in on whales. That's true. No good at the line. We'll get a bunch of 10-second violations there. Rad said he went to the Masters and it was amazing. Radkey, I know you're all about these generative projects. Which one should I be looking at now? I know Brent told me, we missed the boat on, what was it, Deadheads or something, right? Like the little, the graveyard dudes. What's interesting? There's a discussion in the Hackatow room, for those of you that are part of it, where someone said, hey, what if someone that was a true crypto OG legend built something for this? Not just, some fly-by-night. What if there's a Podmork generative avatar project? Obviously, we're not doing 10,000, but what if something like that were to occur? It'd be interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of us would ape in on that. But here's the thing. You'd have to ape in with Mork. So imagine the effect on the market with that too. Man, you guys are gonna get me all kinds of avatars here. Pokemon NFTs would blow the F up. They certainly would. They're making their way, I'm sure. Random aside, guys, while I got Easy in the chat here, Easy and I are putting together a special event, a special edition of Cypher meets Whale happening at the end of this month. You guys will be able to come in on a Tuesday at about this time, leading into poker. We'll be dropping bars. We'll be getting crazy. So a Cypher Whale event exclusive. All right, you guys are just starting to name all kinds of projects. I have no idea what you're talking about now. I want to tell you guys about another collectible project I'm working on for you, but I don't want to leak it too early. Just know that I am working on getting some very cool stuff that's exclusive for our community, exclusive opportunity to be part of. I think you guys are going to dig it. Different than what we've done. So something different to add some value. Hollow legendary Top Shot pack should be the focus. They should. Let's get that DAO proposal done, passed, and let's get it. All right, everyone. I'm going to let you guys get back to it. Thanks for hanging with me for hang time today. I am back in the saddle after vacation, so you'll catch me around on the Discord making my usual noise. I will talk to you all soon. Have a good one.